Okay. So it's good that you kind of get close and say that you will accept this one, even if not perhaps the compelling one. You accept as an evidence, And in this case, it seems like it's not the ideal for you, but it's acceptable to you. That's at least is good. Is good. So, but then I will say it's not just one. If I actually, ask the supreme power to not just create a baby alligator out of this, to create banana, to create an orange, to create a bird, to create many other things out of the very same piece of paper. And I think without any doubt that you will say that must be the work of very intelligent and powerful person. I think I think that when the moment that you observe and see that one, you cannot, just walk away and say, this is a normal. Yeah, you will go and tell everyone. I saw that there was a alligator came out of piece of paper. It was really amazing. I think it's, and not amazing in the sense that you try to think about it, say, okay, how come, what is the alligator, what is a piece of paper? Alligator is the rearrangement of the particle. Now, well, can we really do that in a lab now? We can't do it. Why? Because we don't really have enough knowledge, at least for now, and enough power to work at this small scale and try to rebuild this piece of paper as baby alligator. Now, I think and what this tells us is basically says that if you want to know such supreme power or supreme being, that one way for you to know him is if you can see certain arrangement around you which are extremely complex, which cannot be the product of human being and which are beyond the power of and knowledge of human being, then you kind of think that that could be the work of such supreme being. What I say is basically, I think almost everything in the universe is exactly like this. But what happened, I think we once we regularly observe those extraordinary works of God, what I call a scientist, start to find a name for it, and they call the law of X, or they explain and find a fancy name for it, and then we start to say, this is a alligator paper. So if you put it in a certain way, which give you baby alligator.
Well, you're engaged in begging the question. You said, once we observe the works of God. See, that's assuming what you're trying to prove, and that's an error in critical thinking called begging the question. That's what we're debating, whether or not God exists. So you can't use the conclusion as your assumption. I would suggest that in order to believe in God, what we need is plentiful, unequivocal evidence. You chose here to focus on the word plentiful, but none of the examples you gave are unequivocal. That's the problem. First you have to have an unequivocal example that supports your hypothesis. Nothing you've given so far is unequivocal. It's equivocal. Second, even if you had one example that's unequivocal, that's not enough. I wouldn't believe in God just on one example. To be frank with you, even if you brought forth this imaginary person today, if you could do that, and he made an alligator out of nothing, I can't say that would be enough. That would certainly be strong support for your hypothesis, but to me it has to be plentiful. That would only be one unequivocal example. What I would want is many more examples to make it plentiful, unequivocal evidence, and that doesn't seem to be the case. We don't even see alligators appear out of nothing in nature, let alone a person doing this. I mean, has anyone ever gone out into the swamp or the woods and right there in front of them, all of a sudden, an alligator appeared out of nothing? No, that doesn't happen. We don't see things coming out of nothing. Not only is there a person not present causing such an event itself does not happen. Complex objects do not come out of nothing. They don't just appear. And so there's no evidence to support your hypothesis. You're operating on wishful thinking. You wish there were, and you're very imaginative in coming up with this idea of a super person, but I'm sorry to say there just isn't any evidence to support your idea.
Okay. I think there are plentiful and unequivocal evidence. I think there are infinite